Recorded live from the mats of Radical MMA in New York City. The Martial Culture Podcast. Your source for in-depth combat sports and martial arts insights with Coach Rene Dreyfus and Matt Peters. Ring the bell and let's get it on.
Do you know the Misogi? That the ninja thing?
I know what you're doing. The ninja
yeah, the ninja gang. The ninja. Oh, should we have not talked yet?
We can talk.
I'm sorry.
You're allowed to speak.
We were just flashing ninja gang signs to each other.
It's good. It makes it sound like we're having a good time before the podcast started.
Yeah, no, we were.
We pretended really well.
Yeah. Having a good time.
We were singing.
Yeah.
Can you mute Rene real quick? Just leave him on mute the entire time.
You don't like my singing? You're like my wife. My wife, when I was singing the Adele song, she's like, if you continue, I will divorce you. Like, I got to that point. She's like, do not sing.
I'm going to need to hear the Adele.
No, you know, in
Which
Japan,
one? Go ahead.
karaoke is like super, super, super popular. And I lived in Japan for 6 years and, had a lot of Japanese friends. And they're like, Rene, let's go to karaoke. And then I have never had one friend invite me back.
I would have you invite you to karaoke, and I haven't gone in a very long time.
Yeah. It's I'm just the worst singer ever. They're like, and then I'll be like, how, you guys want to go to karaoke? And she's like, no. We'll go somewhere else. But we never want to hear you sing again.
My Instagram is about to be popping. This is gonna be great. I only want you to sing.
Only want me to sing? I'll sing. I'll sing.
No, what are you doing? Do you ever want to come back here? Your first time here. But we should introduce the voice.
Yes. The person we're talking to. Matt, please do the honors.
Champion fighter, right? You're killing it.
Yeah,
with
times,
some wins.
Yeah.
At times.
Most wins.
I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. Yorrick?
No, you nailed it.
That's
what I'm talking about.
High five.
First try.
Thank you.
Yorrick
Thank you for
Anderson,
coming
yes.
to the show.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about you, and Rene talks about you proudly all the time.
No, you can't see me, but I'm blushing right now.
But you recently had a fight a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Came out with the W.
Came out with the W.
Yeah, and it was not just a win; it was quite a stylish win. I never saw so many side kicks to the midsection in one fight. I mean, it was like he broke out the Matrix. All you needed was a black coat and some sunglasses.
Yeah, I tried. They made me take it off.
They made you take it off. Yeah. No, but okay. So we have to actually. This is a terrible, terrible thing that happened, and I have to take full responsibility. This is like the worst thing that could ever happen in a fight. So we're training hard. The camp was amazing, although we had some injuries and some things. But I mean, the camp was going great. The weight cut, it went all right. Everything was good. He's feeling great. His hydration, everything's good. We're in the ring working out, and I'm like, go feel out the ring. You and G, go in and feel out the ring. Make sure you feel comfortable with it, because sometimes the floor of the ring is not you have to feel it a little bit. So he goes in the ring, and we're kind of fooling around, and I'm like joking around, and G's doing some kung fu poses and this and that, and then you tell him what happens.
Okay, so there I am, minding my own business. I'm again feeling out the cage, just seeing if it's slippery anywhere. It's like me, G, and this other guy in there, and I'm used to having multiple people in there shadowboxing because everybody wants to feel it out the same way. I go to talk to Rene. I'm standing by the fence, and all of a sudden, it's just like somebody slapped me in the back, like boom, in the back of the head. This kid spinning hook kicked me straight. I was so confused and mad at the same time. I was like, I don't know what just happened, but God.
And I mean, he really kicked him incredibly hard.
Wow.
I mean, this is before the fight, and the worst thing to ever happen, like, I didn't fight because I got knocked out.
This was like off of the 2 injuries beforehand. I was like, we finally made it. We did it. And then that would have been the weirdest pullout of all time. So no. He got here. He made weight. He showed up the event, and then he got knocked out beforehand.
Camp was
good though. Camp was fun.
There's that guy in the UFC. I forgot his name, but he was walking out to his fight, and the fire extinguisher fell and hit him on the head. This is years ago.
That's an act of God at that point.
I know, right? It didn't hit him directly, but it hit him enough where he really got hurt, and then he couldn't fight. I'm like, wow, that's just terrible. Like
when they fight and they thank God for the victory. The other guy, that's the most appropriate time to ever
thank God a fire extinguisher didn't. But I felt terrible because I should have been paying. He came over to talk to me a little bit, and this guy does this spinning, hook it, boom, and I'm like, oh my God! Now I was outside the cage.
He was outside filming. He's like, world star.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
And then actually the cool guy's coach runs in. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Taking Portuguese. I don't speak Portuguese, but I understand it. And he's like chewing him out, and the guys felt really bad too. Even though it was bad. And then Yorrick was like, he didn't hit me hard. And I'm like, And you could tell that he was like samuraiing it up, but he got hit hard. And then after the fight, he's like, yeah, I think he gave me a little bit of a concussion. I'm like, oh my God, please next time just tell me.
Wow.
But like it was a terrible stuff.
At least give you a couple points.
Yeah, right. That was actually the hardest hit I took all night, though.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He grazed you once, and that was it.
Got to sneak up on me.
Yeah.
Was it at least a nice kick? Because I didn't see it.
It was actually a very nice.
All I
kick.
saw.
How did it feel?
Yeah.
All I saw was.
Did it feel nice?
Did not feel great.
No.
I was the guy was hugging me and apologizing afterwards, and I was really angry, but also still confused. Like I didn't know what happened. Like somebody could have ran up and slapped me.
Yeah, it's funny because when you're pissed, the last thing you want them to do is hug you. And you're just you just want to say like, get away, bro. Yeah. But but they're trying to be like nice to you. At the same time, you're like, don't fucking hug me. You know?
I don't know how I probably would have reacted the same way. I would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No,
Right.
yeah, and he was really apologetic. His coach apologized to me like 20 times. You walked away and he's like, I'm very sorry. And I'm like, sin problema.
Take him to the People's Court.
People's Court. Dun, dun.
Nice,
Oh, no,
nice.
that's Law and
Yeah.
Order. Sorry, I got the wrong. I don't
like
know how
we're-
People's Court goes.
I can't remember that. It's so iconic though. But
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I can't remember much before the kick, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was let's before we go into your background and everything, just tell us about your recollection of the fight and coming up to the fight, the camp. This is a kind of a bad part of that camp, but I mean I remember guys, our listeners are always asking me about fighting, and then what I wanted the listeners to get is a sense of what it's like to come up through the ranks as an amateur. And then I'd like Yorrick to come on when he goes pro and to see the growth of him as a great fighter. And you're already a world champion. Actually, people don't realize that when Yorrick's fighting, he's actually a Sanda world champion. And that was, what year did you win the world championships?
2016 or 17?
16? Oh, yeah.
2016,
Okay,
2017.
all right. Yeah, and so that's amazing. And one of your coaches, Max Chen, was actually at the Beijing Olympics when Sanda was a spectator sport. Not spectator, a demonstration sport, right?
Exhibition?
Exhibition sport, yes, thank you. And but you have that Sanda background from Professor Ken and also Max, and also Muay Thai and kickboxing as well. But you decided to move into MMA. What made you wanna transition over from striking to full on MMA?
Even when I was like only fighting under like kickboxing or Muay Thai rules, I only watched MMA. Like it was, I don't know, it was very boring for me to watch Muay Thai fights. And there are like very beautiful like Muay Thai fights out there. There's great fights, great glory fights, but it wasn't something that I followed. Like I wasn't like, oh, I gotta go.
No, I
Watch glory this weekend.
Yeah, right. Right.
It just got to a point where you're kind of seeing the same stuff over and over. And again, that's not to say it's all like that, but most of the time it's very similar fights.
No, I agree with you. It's the same thing with every one single dimension art. There's nothing wrong with it. Like Kyokushin, K1 glory style rules, which don't allow clinch, regular Muay Thai rules, sport jiu-jitsu or judo. What happens is because you've restricted what is possible, people, it's just refining what is already there. There's evolution for sure, but it's like who can do what we already know the best. And that's kind of what boxing is too. And it's like it's rare to see a Lomachenko. It's much more to see someone like Anthony Ruiz, who just is a really good journeyman. Like he doesn't do anything new. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not something we've seen before. We've always seen it before. And the same thing with Glory, the same thing with Enrico Verhoeven or what's his name? Nikki Holtzkeen, or these guys are amazing, but it's who can do what we already know the best. It's, I think, how it is. Where MMA, you're like, what? How do you put those, like it's still growing, it's still evolving, it's still, there's still room for excitement. And also, everybody moves so differently.
Yeah.
Even if like you look at Wonder Boy and then you look at John Jones, and they're like, there's very little overlap in how they move, even though they're trying to do the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. I totally agree with you. I personally, while I really respect sport jiu-jitsu, and I do have to watch it for sometimes research purposes, it's never something that I enjoy watching. Whereas I always enjoy watching MMA, even when it's not.
Not the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy like just the practice of it a lot more as well. Like my style, like striking, doing like Muay Thai, like I never really trained or fought with like a Muay Thai style. I was always a little more mobile. A lot of people thought I was a karate fighter, but for the record, again, never done karate in my life. But just, I always kind of like accentuated, like me and my coaches accentuated like movement more than like standing and banging, right?
Yeah.
So much more applicable in MMA, but also there's no corners for me to get stuck in. So I can be on my bike all night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just more exciting for me, more variables, more like different places for me to like express myself through fucking people up.
Exactly. And you know, it's funny you're making a joke, but expressing yourself is exactly like, why would you want to paint in one color?
When you
that's to
paint
me
with your feet on people's face.
like that guy who's handicapped where he paints with his feet. No?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty inspiring. He paints with his feet.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's amazing. The cat's amazing, but he doesn't have hands.
Huh.
He has no hands, so he paints. You're
Is
like
it better
that guy.
than I could do?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
It's a lot better.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Are you saying I don't have hands? Is that what you're saying?
How
Well,
do
you
you hold
didn't
the
drop
brush?
the guy.
I worked damn hard on my boxing.
Where's the brush
No.
go?
No, is it in between? It's like he holds the brush like chopsticks.
Yo, I
Between
straight
his
thought you said. I thought you were saying that he was like finger painting, but with his toes. I misunderstood entirely.
No,
You actually brush him.
yeah, no, but I think sometimes he does finger paint with his toes too. Like he touches up with like but mostly he has a brush between.
Toes get no respect. He's doing it with his toes. We're still calling it finger painting.
This is now an art podcast. Let's dissect this.
I'm gonna look at that guy's
The
name,
Art
sorry.
Culture Podcast.
Miles, bring it up.
But yeah. So when did you officially start training martial arts?
All right. So the full story is I used to be a competitive swimmer for like my whole childhood. You know, I never like tried at it. Like I would try in the race, but at that point I didn't know that you were supposed to try and like practice as well. So I would show up practice and be like, yeah, my mom said I had to be here, and I would like swim, and then at races I would like try to go as fast as I could, but like that don't really pan out like that.
No. Yeah.
So when I stopped swimming, I started getting fat because I didn't know what a calorie was. So I was just swimming like 6-7 miles a night and just eating everything.
Like whatever you want. Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I got to go find something to do to keep busy. So a friend of mine was doing like Steven Seagal Japanese jiu-jitsu type stuff.
Right. I remember you said you started in Japanese jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
So I went up there and like,
this is upstate New York, right?
Yeah, it was upstate New York.
Where you grew up.
At a local like community center. Like, it was a back room that we were using for free. And like everybody, the guy who was teaching is this big, giant, like 200-pound guy with no neck. And he was like, yeah, just grab the wrist and they go flying. It's easy. So I was like, all right, bet. So I go in and I met this guy on the first night there, and I saw him like shadowboxing and moving around. He's actually my brother-in-law now, but I saw him shadowboxing and moving around. I was like, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. So when I was like, hey man, can you teach me how to kick people in the face? And he was like, oh yeah, right on. So he's teaching me how to kick people in the face. The instructor comes in, he's like, no, we're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna do these wrist locks and stuff. Like you just catch the punch that goes by you. It's like, all right, did that for a little bit, and then the instructor got in a fight, and he was telling us about it. And he's like, yeah, these two guys, I fucked them both up. And I'm sitting there, I was like, right on, man. You wrist lock him? And he's like, nah, I just punched him. And I was like, cool, but like, why didn't you wrist lock him? He's like, I didn't need to, I just punched him. So I was like, shit, I need to get good at punching stuff. So after that, me and the guy I met, his name is Mike Lung. He really helped me like discover martial arts. We started kind of like bopping around, trying different things out. But it was like very much like a hobby type thing. Like It was not at all like, And
this is when you were in high school or?
No, I think I was 18 at the time. Yeah.
And you still lived up
yeah, I still lived upstate.
Yeah.
So
what town you're from? Not Poughkeepsie. Where are you from?
Near I'm from the sunny town of Saugerties, New York.
Saugerties.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's actually a beautiful area.
Yeah, which is weird for me to hear because when I grew up, it was like squirrels and like heroin. I was like,
were the squirrels on heroin?
Oh yeah, they definitely were. You did not want to fuck with those squirrels. They were like the size of raccoons, and they were
actually. It's funny.
They were itching.
No, it's funny because I remember in the 80s, Washington Square Park was filled with drug users and drug sellers, and
aggressive squirrels.
And squirrels would be licking out the crack and the meth from the discarded bottles, the little can, and you just see cracked out squirrels all the time,
man.
And you'd see them on in delirium tremens from withdrawal all the time. You're like, wow, that squirrel's on withdrawal. That's like the pizza rat is like nothing compared to what we saw in the 80s. But anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that brings me back to my crack squirrels.
Jones and squirrels.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I'm good for it. Give me some nuts.
Give me the real nuts. Give me the real nuts.
But yeah, so we kind of bopped around. I tried like different things out. Like there was one hilarious like month where we were trying to do like Kenpo karate classes. Oh shit, I have done karate for like 2 minutes.
Oh my god!
Damn it, I'm a liar.
You're a liar.
But it was like online. Like you like the guy was like, yeah, give me money and here's a videotape on how to do like these 5 moves and then you send it back and I'll give you a yellow belt. And we were like, that sounds legit. So we're doing that, and at this time GSP was still champ, I believe. Yeah. So I started watching MMA and I was like, yo, this guy's crazy. Like watching him just jab people up and like just the way he moved, I was like, this is nothing like what I'm doing. Like it's way more dynamic. Like I feel like you can't just stand there in a fight. Mm-hmm. So I started looking into like more like, street fighting type stuff. So I did a little bit of like Jeet Kune Do. Mm-hmm. Did that for a little bit, and then I moved to I made the smart decision because I was like, man, I really hate it up here. Let me take all my no money and move to New York City where things are cheaper, and surely I'll be able to find. So.
And where you're from, upstate too.
Rochester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less squirrels.
Never made my way to Socrates. Though.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, they're actually not far from me. They're far from each other quite a bit. Right?
A little bit.
It's
like 4 hours.
It's close to Albany, right?
Yeah.
It's like an hour south.
Yeah. And we're close to Buffalo.
We're a geography podcast now.
We keep switching.
Geographical culture. play it, Miles.
New York, right?
Come on, Miles.
I'm telling you, where's Raul? I'm saying.
Yeah, where's Raul?
Raul and
we want that. Raul.
Yeah, Raul's our favorite sound manager.
He'd be coming up with these songs on the fly.
He'd sing it for us.
So anyway, moved to New York, and the same guy, Mike Long, he would like
he moved down with you.
He didn't move with me. He still lived up there, but he would come down on the weekends every once in a while. And so he used to like drive way too fast, so he would get here in like half an hour from like a 2.5 hour trip. It was cool, like just like because I would drive down with him a lot and just go limp the whole time. I was like, yo, if we die, we die. It's fine. Better than hanging out up there. So he would drive down, and then one night he hits me up and he's like, hey, there's this Muay Thai meetup in the park. Do you want to go check it out? And I was like, yeah, it's Wednesday. I got nothing to do. So I went there, and that's when I met my coach, Ken. He's teaching.
So weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah. And Ken doesn't listen to the podcast, really. Sorry, I know he doesn't.
Oh, he'll listen to this one.
But he is
I'll play it for him.
such. I say all the time how much tremendous respect I have. He is such an amazing coach and such a huge fount of knowledge. I've never met anyone like him who I respect so much for regular striking, of course, but for MMA striking and for his immensely innovative approach. And to meet a guy like that in the park, you hit the lottery.
Oh, I know. He's genuinely a genius. Like he's the kind of guy, like I know people who like take hours out of their day to like study a fight and like be like, oh, I came up a new way. Like that's how you throw the jab. Ken will be like coming to me and he'll be like, so I was in the shower yesterday and I came up with this thing. I thought it would work great for you. And that's my Ken impression that everybody does. It's like I was in the shower the other day and I came up with this move. I thought it would be great. And I'm like, all right, yeah, show me. And like I'll try it in sparring. I'll be like, this is practically magic. But he's also the kind of guy who will study hours and hours. Like he'll find like a 52 blocks like VHS and like watch the whole thing and be like, yeah, it was trash, but I did find this one thing, and like that'll be like part of the system now. Oh. So I met Ken in the park, and at that time it had like a CrossFit leg to it as well. Because again, he was opening a gym where it was like MMA and like CrossFit. So he was like trying to basically like get hype going for the gym and like just get people interested. So we went, and me and my buddy like just blown away like by the way Ken taught. Like he explained everything. He explained again, I didn't know shit about fighting at the time, but the way he explained it was like that 100% makes sense. Like there's a reason for everything. You're not just like, well, Bruce Lee said do this and I saw this in a movie, so that's how that works. Now you know how to fight. Get out of here, kid. It was none of that. It was all like everything was well thought out. Everything was like you like think like, well, if you go there they might do this, so account for that. Then there was the CrossFit bit, which we both fucking hated. So we were like leaving, and like, yo, both of us were like pretty conflicted. We were like, damn, like, I don't know if I want to go back. But